Like we said, I'm with Forma and I'm real estate closings. I have been in the business for 18 years. And I think doing closings, your attitude sets the bar for how the closing is going to be from the beginning. If you have a bad attitude in the beginning, then the whole closing is going to have a bad attitude. It's going to rub off on other people. So I think in our business, it's very important for us to have good attitudes. And I believe if you have the right attitude in our business for success, that's how we set our goals and achieve our goals. The only thing in life that we can control is our attitude. Your attitude can control what kind of day you're going to have. And it also, a good way to put it is you are the thermostat of your attitude. So what do you do to keep your attitude adjusted? And the other thing in our business that I think is important is integrity. Your integrity says a lot about you, so we should cherish and guard our reputation. And in my closings, I try to make sure everyone in the transaction feels that I have provided them with unsurpassed help in all aspects of home buying, selling, or if it's a refinance closing. All the way from the initial stages of buying, selling, or refinance to close of the transaction and well beyond that. There are 4 major steps in a closing, and that is pre-closing, closing, disbursement, and post-closing. And I think what sets me apart from a lot of other agents is I do mine from beginning to end. So if you call, I'm the only person you're going to talk to about the closing. Everybody does the titles, and I do the closings. I try to treat every transaction with all professionalism and attention to detail that they expect. That is really all I have.
You said that there were 4 parts to the closing. What do you do in pre-closing?
The pre-closing is when, like if the realtor calls to set up a closing or if Aaron calls to set up a closing, then I start from the beginning, setting up a file. And then if they want me to order everything from them, that is something that I offer, and a lot of realtors like that because then they don't have to worry about where the item's going to come from or if it's going to be ordered. And then as far as title, surveys, termites, payoffs, clearing all the issues that's on the title as far as the assessment letters, homeowners association letters, sewer letters, all that has to be cleared before you close. So that's all part of pre-closing. And then once we get into the closing, that is when I receive the closing package and I have to get all of that ready. I have to
your package, is that when the HUD lines?
Yes. Yes, that's when the mortgage company sends me the closing package, and then I key in all the numbers to prepare the settlement statement, which what has all the numbers tells the buyer what they've got to bring to closing, or to tell the seller what they're netting.
2 questions. One is, how do you know if somebody is, in fact, in a homeowners association?
Our title will tell us that. When I get the title, it tells me if it's in a homeowners association. And we've been doing this for 18 years. I pretty much know who is in a homeowners association, what subdivision, and what's not. There's a lot of subdivisions that's in smaller counties. Typically they're not, but I mean we still put the requirement on there just to make sure in the check to make sure that they're not in a homeowners association.
And the second question was, what was it that you didn't have the nerve to do?
I was going to do a song, but I'm not.
I thought we were talking about something else.
I was kind of a whole different outfit.
Her and I, we've been talking about this.
I didn't get the outfit, so I wasn't able to do that. I was going to be your Wonder Woman.
Oh, come on, girly girl.
I even rather I might want to
The invisible rope to make men tell the truth.
Well, I was going to wear my Wonder Woman outfit.
Every woman has a lasso, too.
Tell them, of course, some of them may not know about the HUD and requirements and federal government and all that sort of thing, because they really don't know how much.
A lot of people don't realize you as a buyer, you have the right to choose who you want to close with, who you want your title services through, who you want your termite services through, your survey services. A lot of time, I mean, a long time ago, it used to be the listing agent always had control of that.
A long time ago?
Well, they say, but they're not supposed to. A new RESPA rule passed about 3 years ago, and it gave the buyer the right to choose who they wanted to
Shop
around for services to get the best rate. I mean, I ran into this exact situation. I have one of my best friends is closing, and she told her agent she wanted to close with me and do title, and she said, that's very tacky of you to ask that. The seller has the right to tell you who you're going to close with. So in the end, she told her she wasn't going to buy the house unless, you know, we did the closing her title. She'd just go somewhere else and get another agent to represent her. So, I mean, we deal with that a lot. I mean, some people will want to close with us, and then in the end, I mean, it is the buyer's choice, so if they want to choose, then they have that right, and a lot of people don't understand that. Because that, I mean, that is why they passed that new RESPA law.
What's in the HUD?
What's on the HUD? Payoffs is on the seller side. We have to do the tax prorations, because from the time that they buy the house until it goes back from October 1st to the time they're buying the house, the buyer gets credit for that because they haven't lived in the house. And something else people don't understand is taxes. Even though we pay taxes all at one time, we have city and county taxes. So when you get to closing, people don't understand that because you have to give the credit to the seller for the city portion that they have paid in advance, and then the buyer gets the credit for the taxes they paid in arrears. And that kind of gets confusing because it's all paid at once.
Angie, this time of year, like right this particular time, don't you find it difficult when people are buying houses and the house may not have been homestead and then taxes are double and they don't know? And, you know, part of what I do and Angie does and Vicki does and Rebecca does is make sure that folks understand that. Because if you get to the closing table and you think my taxes are going to be $80 a month and lo and behold, they're going to be $160, and everybody gets surprised, which good agents know that up front, and they will tell that to their client.
Well, and also we can find that out when we do the title. So when I see that, I automatically call the realtor or the mortgage person and say, hey, do you realize these taxes are double? So if you've estimated your taxes at $60, it's not going to be $60 a month. It's going to raise their payment to $120 a month just on taxes alone.
Right.
I mean, and I've got one right now that the taxes are exempt. So they're not paying taxes this year, but 2013, which is what they need to start escrowing in their payment. And I gave the mortgage guy the amount, and I don't know what he had estimated, but I mean, and I even estimated on homestead, and the taxes were like $1,300 a year. He said, this is only a $140,000 house. Well, it doesn't matter. It's based on what county you live in, and they happen to live in Hoover, which that is one of the highest millage rates that there is. Hoover and Homewood and Mountain Brook. And that affects your payment.
But the school system's great.
Oh, yeah, you pay for it
too, don't you? Oh, yeah.
And I will say this, it's so important that, like, we work together, and we talk almost 3 or 4 times a week. So it's so great we're all in this group.
And what we're dealing with this year is the Consumer Finance Board is changing a lot of the rules. So, I mean, there will be another new settlement statement coming out in January. It's going to totally change the whole process. The lenders actually have more control than what they're supposed to have more control, which I think the way they're doing it is really going to make it harder on the whole process. It's supposed to make it easier for the consumer, and it doesn't. It's what we used to, when I first started doing closings, I had a 2-page HUD. Then we moved to a 4-page HUD 3 years ago, and now we're moving to a 6-page HUD.
Of course, the lender does have the right, in that thing that we had just came back from, excuse me for saying, but we kind of work together. But the lender, of course, ultimately is the one that's responsible for the new deal, because what's disclosed to the customer when you go in and they say these are your fees, but they can let the closer do the HUD, and fill in all the blanks. I mean, that's something that the lender is not going to have to do it. They could pass it off to whoever's going to do their closing.
I do.
And that way,
And they will.
yeah.
I
mean, that would be one.
You need a good closing agent that you work with well to get all of that done.
Because the preliminary HUDs are very helpful to make sure people have the right money, and it shows your professionalism when you can get them a preliminary HUD.
Well, it too, some of those things, I mean, once Erin tells you what they are, some of those can't change, period. What she tells you, and if they're not right, then
She has to
She
do credit
gets-
cure at the closing, which
she
is
gets
credit
to
to
pay
the
for it.
purchaser, which goes back on the broker or the lender. There's a lot of details I think people don't really understand that goes into closing. I think sometimes people think we just push buttons, and there's a lot more to it than
It's
just
very
pushing a
detail
button.
oriented.
It's a
You
very
do a very good
manual
job,
process.
Angie.
It's a very manual process.
I think you guys delay closings because you think it's funny. That's
Me?
been my
I know.
experience.
We have to closing, I want it to close as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, Nick, that's part of it, but
I'm kidding.
we have to delay them. I mean, it's
Yeah.
part of the package. It says delay at least 3 times and make them this mad. I mean, it's part of it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, and with
Can't
the
help
new
it.
things, if Erin gives you that amount and everything, she has to do that 3 days before.
And if it changes,
If
then
it
she has to
changes,
redisclose.
then you have to
3
wait
days before.
3 more days.
And stuff changes.
And I think, isn't it, some of them is 1/8 of a percentage of a
No,
change,
it's
some of
always
them.
an 8. That is the rule, yeah. And some lenders say an 1/8 up, but it's supposed to be an 1/8 up or an 1/8 down. But if you're obviously benefiting the client, they're not going to make you redisclose because you're bettering the situation. But if you go up by an 8, period. Some of the things that change though, I mean, the client's going to jump up and down if we changed them anyways. I mean, you're talking about your origination fee and things like that. There's a different category Angie can tell you about that's a 10% category, and then there's other things that can change because we have no control over them.
And
Yeah,
there's
but
2
what in
categories
that-
on the HUD.
See, another thing, if they change and you have to wait 3 days and your lot's gone, then it's,
Well, you
I
have
mean,
to
all
extend,
that-
you would
Well,
have to.
there's a lot of detail that
I mean,
nobody
it's
understands.
just-
That's why you want to have people you can trust.
right.
Good job, Angie.